What if I told you that the noise you've been drowning in, the endless chase for validation, the masks you've been forced to wear, the exhaustion of striving to be enough, was never the truth of who you are? What if the breaking you've endured, the shame you've carried, the voices that told you you were not enough, were all illusions, designed to hide the whisper of God within you? Because here is the secret. Beneath the noise, beneath the masks, beneath the striving, there is a silence. And in that silence, there's a voice, the whisper of God, the voice that has been with you all along, waiting to bring you home. This video is not just something to watch. It is a journey, and I will walk with you through it step by step. Together, we will move through 7 chapters. Each chapter is a doorway. Each chapter will take you deeper, from the chaos of the world, back into the stillness of your soul. So I invite you, not just to watch, but to participate. Pause when you need to. Close your eyes when I guide you. Let the words wash over you, not just in your mind, but in your heart. And as you walk this journey with me, I ask you for something small but powerful. If these words awaken something in you, if this journey touches your spirit, like this video, leave a comment and subscribe. Not just for me, but because when you do, you make this light visible to others who are still lost in the noise. Your engagement becomes a lantern that helps guide another soul home. So let us begin. Take a breath. Exhale the noise. Chapter 1. The question of worth. What does it mean to be a man? Not just by flesh, not by muscle, not by the world's definition of toughness, but by spirit. What does it mean to rise above the noise? To stand in stillness when the world screams for your attention. To walk with dignity without begging for validation from any man, any woman, any system of this world. What if you have been living as a puppet, dancing to strings pulled by opinions, judgments, and expectations? What if the masks you wore were never yours? What if the burdens you carry were never chosen by your soul? What if the voice you mistake for yours was only the echo of other people's noise? Pause. Listen. Do you hear it? That buzzing in your head. The thoughts that are not yours. The opinions replayed like broken records. The noise. Noise that tells you, you must prove yourself. You must earn love. You are not enough. But what if all of that was a lie? What if the truth is this? The day God formed you, you were already enough. Whole, complete, worthy. You never had to beg. You never had to chase. You never had to shrink. But somewhere along the way, the noise drowned out the whisper of God. And so today, we return back to that whisper, back to that stillness, back to the original self that does not beg, does not hide, does not need validation. Because masculine energy is not force. It is not noise. It is presence. It is strength. It is sovereignty. It is peace. The hollow pursuit of validation. For most of us, we were raised in noise. Told, you must prove yourself. Told, you must achieve before you are worthy. Told, do not be soft. Do not show weakness. Do not step out of line. And so we chased. We chased recognition. We chased respect. We chased validation like beggars chasing scraps. But let me ask you, when has validation ever satisfied your soul? When has applause ever healed the emptiness inside? When has the approval of men ever matched the quiet assurance of God within you? You may win their praise one day and lose it the next. You may gain their respect and watch it vanish the moment you fall short. The validation of men is hollow. It is sand in your hands. It cannot anchor you. It cannot sustain you. It cannot define you. For true worth does not live in their eyes. It lives in your spirit. It lives in the place God breathed himself into you. And until you return to that place, you will keep begging. You will keep shrinking. You will keep dancing to noise that was never yours. The puppet and the strings. Look closely at your life. How many choices have you made? Not because they were true to you, but because they were expected of you. How many times have you silenced your soul to avoid their judgment? This is the tragedy of noise. It turns kings into puppets. It turns divine souls into actors, performing roles written by other people's fears. You thought you were living, but in truth, you were being moved by strings. Strings of opinion, strings of tradition, strings of expectation, strings of trauma. And like every puppet, you lost sight of the hands above you. Noise is clever. It convinces you that you are in control, when in reality, you are dancing to someone else's tune. But here is the awakening. You were not made to be a puppet. You were made to be sovereign. You were not made to beg for recognition. You were made to walk in authority. And the moment you see the strings, the illusion breaks. The noise of the world is loud. Its voices echo everywhere. In your home, in your work, in your mind. It tells you, do more, be more, have more, prove yourself. But when you quiet yourself, when you breathe, when you step away from the endless chatter, you realize something. All of it is noise. Empty, shallow, fleeting noise. Noise shaped by culture. Noise shaped by fear. Noise shaped by trauma passed down for generations. Noise so loud you can forget the sound of your own soul. But noise is not truth. Noise is not God. Noise is the illusion that keeps you running in circles. And this is why men beg for validation. Because they are lost in noise. Because they have mistaken the voice of the crowd for the voice of God. But the masculine spirit does not beg. It does not submit to noise. It listens for the whisper in the silence. It moves not from desperation, but from presence. So I ask you now, what does it mean to be a man? What does it mean to be a soul awake to its worth? It means this: to no longer be a puppet, to no longer wear the mask, to no longer live for noise. It means to walk in stillness, to live in presence, to embody the worth God placed within you, the very moment He formed you. So will you keep dancing to noise? Or will you begin the journey inward, to the place of sovereignty, to the place of silence, to the place where your worth was written by God Himself? Chapter 2. The prison of noise. Noise. It surrounds you. It shapes you. It tells you who to be, how to walk, how to speak, how to love, how to hide. It comes from everywhere. Your upbringing, your trauma, your family's expectations, the judgments of peers, the whispers of society, the voices of teachers, the commands of religion twisted into control instead of love. It says, you are not enough. You must prove yourself. Fit in, shrink, apologize, seek approval, beg to be seen. And like so many others, you believed it. You let it build walls around your mind. You let it tie chains around your heart. You let it turn you into a slave in your own kingdom. Noise does not simply distract you. It imprisons you. It convinces you to bury your soul, to silence your truth, to walk paths that were never yours to walk. This is the prison of noise. Chains without metal. There are prisons you can see, bars of iron, walls of stone, locks that seal you inside. But there is another prison, more cruel, more hidden. A prison with no guards, no doors, no walls. A prison built entirely of noise. This prison does not restrain your body. It restrains your spirit. It keeps you small. It keeps you afraid. It convinces you to betray yourself in exchange for the illusion of acceptance. These are chains without metal. You cannot touch them, but you feel them every day. Every time you want to speak your truth, but silence yourself. Every time you want to walk your path, but hesitate for fear of judgment. Every time you know who you are, but bend into shapes that were never yours to wear. That is noise, invisible, suffocating, deadly. And here is the tragedy. Many live and die inside this prison, not because the doors are locked, but because they never realized the door was open. The inherited masks. Noise does not begin with you. It begins long before you. Think of your parents. Think of your lineage. Think of the generations before you. How much of their pain, their silence, their masks was handed down to you without your consent. Your father wore the mask of strength because his father told him, men, do not cry. Your mother wore the mask of endurance because her mother told her women must suffer quietly. Your teachers wore the masks of authority because they were taught to control, not to guide. And slowly, these masks were placed upon you, layer by layer, expectation by expectation, fear by fear. So much of the noise you hear in your head is not even yours. It is inherited. It is borrowed. It is the echo of voices long gone, still alive inside you. Yet you mistake it for yourself. You say, this is who I am. But it is not you. It is a mask, a costume, the prison of someone else's pain. Understand this. You cannot awaken while living in borrowed masks. You cannot embody true masculine presence while carrying the weight of voices that never belonged to you. At some point, you must declare, this ends with me. The masks stop here. The noise ends now. Living as a stranger to yourself. Imagine walking through life and never meeting yourself. Imagine playing the role of the pleaser, the achiever, the strong one, the silent one, the dutiful one, the rebel, yet never once meeting the real you. That is what noise does. It makes you a stranger to your own soul. You wake up and go to work. You put on the smile they expect. You carry the weight they hand you. You follow the script they wrote. And yet, deep inside, a voice whispers, this is not me. This is not who I was made to be. This is not the man, not the woman God created. But because of noise, you silence that voice. You bury it. You deny it. You smother it beneath years of pretending. And so you live as a stranger to yourself. You walk past mirrors and see only masks. You look into your eyes and see only echoes of noise. You live in your own body, but you have never truly lived as yourself. This is the tragedy of the prison of noise. It robs you of the one relationship that matters most, the relationship with your true self, the self God formed in silence before the noise of the world began. But hear me, this tragedy is not the end. It is the beginning, because once you realize you are a stranger to yourself, you are ready to return home. You are ready to meet yourself again. And in meeting yourself, you will meet God. Noise builds prisons without walls. It convinces kings they are slaves. It convinces divine beings they are puppets. It convinces you to bury your fire and trade it for approval that never satisfies. But now the door is open. The chains are breaking. The masks are falling. And the question is this: will you keep obeying the noise? Or will you step through the open door, into the silence where God's voice has been waiting for you all along? Chapter 3. The true masculine energy. Masculine energy is not loud. It does not chase validation. It does not beg to be seen. It does not perform for applause. The world has confused you. It told you that to be masculine is to dominate, to silence your tears, to conquer, to boast, to prove yourself through noise and performance. But that is not truth. That is insecurity dressed as power. That is the performance of boys who never met their true selves. True masculine energy is stillness. It is presence. It is authority without force. Strength without cruelty. Power without noise. It is not defined by gender, but by alignment with divine order. And when a man or a woman awakens this energy within, they stop asking, "Am I enough?" Because they finally know they were enough the day God breathed His Spirit into their lungs. The mountain and the valley. What is the nature of true masculine energy? It is not the boy shouting, "Look at me, look at me." It is not the desperate man, hungry for validation, chasing recognition like a shadow that always slips away. No, true masculine energy is the mountain. The mountain does not beg the valley to acknowledge it. The mountain does not lower itself because storms rage around it. The mountain does not compete with every tree, every rock, every creature below. The mountain simply is, rooted, silent, majestic, and those who stand before it cannot deny its presence. This is masculine energy, a soul so rooted in God, so aligned with truth, that its very being becomes unshakable. Not loud, not frantic, not desperate, but steady, grounded, present. This is sovereignty. It does not beg. It does not chase. It does not perform. It rests in its own authority. Strength without force. The world has lied to you about strength. It told you strength is dominance. It told you strength is control. It told you that to be strong you must bend others to your will. Prove yourself through conquest. Crush others beneath your power. But that is not strength. That is fear in disguise. That is noise pretending to be authority. True strength does not need to dominate. True strength does not fear softness. True strength does not hide behind cruelty. True strength is stillness. It is the man who does not react to every insult, but listens in silence. It is the woman who does not beg for approval, but stands rooted in her worth. It is the soul who knows, your opinion does not define me. God has already spoken my worth. Strength without force is the quiet fire. It is the steady river that carves canyons, not by violence, but by persistence. It is the tree that bends in the wind, but never breaks at its root. This is masculine energy, not the clenched fist, but the open hand, not the loud boast, but the quiet presence, not the desperate chase, but the magnetic stillness. When you embody this strength, you no longer run after what is yours. You attract it. You draw it by your being, not by your begging. The presence that cannot be ignored. Presence. It is not something you perform. It is not something you force. It is not something you beg for. Presence is what happens when you live in alignment. When a man has awakened his true masculine spirit, he does not need to shout to be seen. He does not need to prove himself with wealth, with titles, with noise. His presence speaks louder than words. It is the calm that stills the room. It is the authority that needs no explanation. It is the light that shines not because he forced it, but because God placed it in him, and he finally stopped covering it with masks. This presence cannot be ignored. It is not arrogance. It is not ego. It is authenticity. It is truth embodied. It is the reflection of the Creator in human form. And when you carry it, The world feels it, not because you demanded attention, but because you became who you were always meant to be. This is why true men, true souls, do not beg for validation. Because their presence is already validation enough. Because their being is proof. Because their authenticity is undeniable. So ask yourself now, will you keep chasing? Will you keep begging? Will you keep performing? Or will you become the mountain? Will you embody the quiet strength? Will you walk in the presence? That cannot be ignored, because when you awaken the true masculine within you, you stop seeking, you stop proving, you stop asking, and you finally know you were always enough. Chapter 4. Remove the masks, the weight of disguise. Close your eyes. Take a breath. Exhale slowly. Now ask yourself, who am I without their opinions? Who am I without their validation? Who am I without the masks? For so long, you have worn disguises. The mask of the pleaser, the mask of the strong one who hides his pain, the mask of the rebel who resists everything, the mask of the perfect son, the perfect daughter, the mask of the lover who gives everything but loses themselves. Each mask was handed to you, some by parents, some by peers, some by culture, some by trauma, and so you wore them, not because they fit, but because you were told you had to, not because they were true, but because you feared what would happen if you took them off. But here's the truth. None of them belong to you. Not one. God did not form you to be a puppet of masks. He did not create you to be a shadow. He created you to be light. And as long as you keep wearing what was never yours, you will never taste the freedom of your own soul. The cost of pretending. Masks are heavy. They suffocate the soul. They rob you of authenticity. They keep you living in rooms too small for the size of your spirit. You say, I am strong, but beneath the mask you are breaking. You say, I am fine, but beneath the mask you are bleeding. You say, I don't care, but beneath the mask you are starving for truth. Masks demand sacrifice. They demand silence. They demand your essence. And in return, they give you nothing. Only exhaustion. Only distance from yourself. Only the prison of pretending. Understand this. You cannot serve two masters, the noise of the world and the whisper of God. You cannot be both puppet and prophet. You cannot live as mask and soul. One of them must fall, the shedding. So imagine yourself now, removing them. The pleaser gone, the strong facade gone, the rebel gone, the perfect child gone, the false lover gone, one by one, layer by layer, falling to the floor. And as the masks fall, something happens. You begin to see yourself clearly, for the first time in years. Not the performer, not the puppet, not the shadow, but the real you, unmasked, raw, authentic, whole. This is who God created. This is who the world tried to bury. This is the self that does not beg, that does not shrink, that does not need to be validated, because it already carries the breath of God. And when you walk unmasked, the world will tremble, not because you performed, not because you shouted, but because you became truth embodied. Chapter 5. The fall and the resurrection, the striving and shame. There comes a season in every life when the masks grow too heavy and the noise grows too loud that you can no longer breathe. And so, you do what the world has trained you to do. You strive, you push harder, you grind longer, you chase faster, because maybe, just maybe, if you do enough, they will finally see you. They will finally applaud you. They will finally call you worthy. You tell yourself, if I make more money, they will respect me. If I work harder, they will love me. If I succeed, they will stop leaving me. If I stay strong, they will stop hurting me. But striving has no end. It is a treadmill that never stops. It is a finish line that runs further the closer you get. And here lies the cruelty of striving. The more you achieve, the emptier you feel. The more you run, the further peace runs from you. The more you prove, the deeper your doubt grows. And when the striving fails to fill the void, shame arrives. The shame of not being enough. The shame of failing their expectations. The shame of chasing applause but never hearing it. The shame of living for masks that never fit, yet fearing what will happen if you take them off. This is the dark side of noise. It convinces you that running will save you, when in truth, it is the running that is killing you. And in that shame, many collapse. Some collapse into addiction, some into anger, some into despair, some into silence so deep, they forget the sound of their own soul. I have been there. I have run until my legs broke beneath me. I have carried masks until my back bent under their weight. I have begged for validation until my spirit cracked. And in that place of exhaustion, I discovered a truth I could no longer avoid. Noise cannot save you. Validation cannot heal you. Masks cannot protect you. Only God can. Broken by noise, refined by grace. It was not in my strength that I was found. It was not in my victories. It was not in my striving. No, it was in my breaking. It was in the moment I collapsed. It was in the moment I could no longer pretend. The noise did not end because I silenced it. The mask did not fall because I was strong enough. The striving did not stop because I achieved enough. It all ended because I broke. The weight became unbearable. The shame too loud. The striving too empty. And in that breaking, in that surrender, God entered. This is the strange mercy of suffering. It refines you. It burns away illusions. It exposes the lies you believed. Noise broke me, but grace rebuilt me. Like fire purifies gold, my pain stripped away every mask. Like a storm clears the sky, my breaking tore down every false identity. And what was left? Not the puppet, not the pleaser, not the strong facade, not the achiever. What was left was me, naked before God, bare but real, wounded but alive. And in that place, I discovered resurrection, the descent before the rising. Most people fear the fall. They do everything to avoid breaking. They cling to the noise. They protect their masks. They fight to keep striving, even though striving is killing them. Why? Because they are terrified of silence, terrified of stillness, terrified of what they will find if everything is stripped away. But here is the mystery. The fall is not your enemy. The fall is your initiation. It is the descent before the rising, the winter before the spring, the burial before the resurrection. Even Christ himself was not glorified without the cross. Even light was not revealed without the tomb. So why do you curse the very path that leads you home? Why do you resist the very breaking that will make you whole? Do not fear the fall, for the fall is the hand of God, removing every illusion you were never meant to carry. Rising into wholeness again, resurrection is not about returning to who you were. It is about becoming who you truly are. The man who rises from the fall is not the same man who fell. The woman who stands again is not the same woman who broke. For in the breaking, something sacred is revealed. In the fire, something eternal is uncovered. This is the gift of grace. It does not restore your masks. It does not rebuild your noise. It restores your soul. And when you rise whole, not perfect, but authentic, not flawless, but true. You no longer chase validation. You no longer beg for applause. You no longer trade your worth for approval. You walk with God. You stand in presence. You live in truth. This is resurrection, not the return to noise, but the freedom from it, not the restoration of the puppet, but the unveiling of the sovereign soul. And once you taste it, once you rise into wholeness again, you can never go back, because you know, noise is death, masks are slavery, but authenticity in God, that is life eternal. The new song of the soul, when you are resurrected, you carry a new song in your spirit. It is not the song of striving. It is not the song of shame. It is not the song of noise. It is the song of stillness, the song of freedom, the song of grace. You walk differently. You breathe differently. You love differently, because you no longer love from lack. You love from overflow. You no longer strive from emptiness. You create from fullness. You no longer beg for validation. You radiate presence. This is the sound of resurrection, a soul in harmony with God, a spirit no longer bound by masks, a life aligned with authenticity. And this song cannot be silenced, not by rejection, not by betrayal, not by the opinions of men, because it is not a song you learned. It is the song you always carried. You simply had to break open to hear it again, the call to you. So hear this, beloved soul. Do not fear the breaking. Do not curse the fall. Do not run from silence. For sometimes, the fall is the only way God can lift you. Sometimes, you must be broken by noise to be resurrected by grace. You are not being destroyed. You are being refined. You are not being abandoned. You are being reborn. The fall is not the end of your story. It is the beginning, the resurrection of your truest self. So rise. Rise into your wholeness. Rise into your sovereignty. Rise into the authenticity God placed in you before the noise of the world. And when you rise, do not look back, for you're no longer who you were. You are who you were always meant to be. Chapter 6. The whisper of God, the silence beneath the noise. Close your eyes once more. Listen, beneath the thoughts, beneath the fears, beneath the expectations, beneath the endless commentary of the world. There is silence, not emptiness, not absence, but a living silence, a presence deeper than words. This silence is not lifeless void. It is not the cold vacuum you fear. It is the womb of creation, the stillness from which everything was born, the eternal ground where God waits for you. You will not find him in the thunder of applause. You will not find him in the shouts of validation. You will not find him in the judgments of men. God hides in the opposite place. He dwells where few are willing to go, into the stillness, the quiet, the whisper. The prophet Elijah learned this. He stood on a mountain, desperate for God. He searched for him in the wind, but the Lord was not in the wind. He searched for him in the earthquake, but the Lord was not in the earthquake. He searched for him in the fire, but the Lord was not in the fire. And then came the gentle whisper, and there God was. So it is with you. You strain your ears for thunder. You search for answers in the noise. You beg for confirmation and applause. But God is not there. He never was. He is here, in the whisper, in the silence, in the stillness beneath the noise. To hear him, you must descend, past the layers of fear, past the layers of doubt, past the echo of voices that never belonged to you. The whisper is not far. It is beneath everything. It is beneath you now, waiting, calling, alive, the voice that never left. So many say, I cannot hear God. But the truth is, you have been hearing him all along. Every time you felt the nudge to let go of what was killing you. Every time you felt the stirring to walk away from the crowd. Every time your soul whispered, there must be more than this. That was him. It was not imagination. It was not coincidence. It was not some random thought. It was the whisper, the still, quiet pull of God. But you buried it. You buried it beneath the static of the world, beneath the voices of comparison, beneath the judgments of others, beneath your own shame. And yet, the whisper never left. The voice never abandoned you. God has always been here, patient, unmoving, watching, like the father in the story of the prodigal son. He let you run into the noise. He let you put on the masks. He let you beg for validation that would never satisfy. But he never turned away, not once. And the moment you turn back, the moment you step toward him, you find something breathtaking. He is already running to you. This is the whisper of God. It is not distant. It is not harsh. It is not condemning. It is tender. It is patient. It is constant. The voice that never left you. The presence that has always been your home. The language of stillness. Do you know why God speaks in whispers? Because truth does not need a shout. Because love does not compete with noise. Because eternity does not prove itself to time. A whisper demands intimacy. You cannot hear it from afar. You cannot hear it while distracted. You cannot hear it while running in circles. To hear a whisper, you must come close. You must lean in. You must quiet yourself. This is the design of the whisper, to draw you nearer to him, to pull you into intimacy, to remind you that presence is not found in running, but in resting. Noise is the language of fear. Shouts are the language of ego. But stillness is the language of God. When you enter stillness, you step into the original language of the soul, the sound before words, the silence before creation, the presence where God and man meet as one. This is why the world fears stillness, because in silence, the illusions dissolve. In silence, the masks fall off. In silence, the false voices grow quiet. And all that remains is God, and you, and truth. Walking again with your Creator. Now imagine this. The masks are gone. The noise is silent. The striving has ended. And you are walking again with your Creator. Not as a beggar, not as a puppet, not as a stranger to yourself, but as a son, as a daughter, as the living soul He formed before the world began. Walking in step with Him, breathing in rhythm with Him, moving not for applause, but from presence, not for validation, but from truth, not from desperation, but from alignment. This is masculine energy in its highest form. Not arrogance, not force, not desperation, but alignment, divine order, the sovereignty of silence. A man aligned with God cannot be shaken. A woman aligned with God cannot be silenced. A soul aligned with God cannot be enslaved by noise. Because in the whisper, they have found the source. In the whisper, they have found home. In the whisper, they have found themselves again. The sovereignty of the whisper. Here is what the whisper gives you. Clarity without chaos. Strength without shouting. Authority without control. Peace without compromise. The whisper is not fragile. It is sovereign. It is the power of God contained in gentleness. It is the eternal voice wrapped in silence. When you live from the whisper, you no longer chase. You no longer beg. You no longer bend. Because the whisper within you is louder than the noise around you. Because the presence of God in you is greater than the opinions of men. because the stillness you carry is more powerful than the storms outside. Noise will try to distract you. Voices will try to control you. Fear will try to silence you. But when you are rooted in the whisper, you cannot be moved. You cannot be shaken. You cannot be enslaved. For you know, the whisper is stronger than the storm. The silence is louder than the noise. The presence is eternal beyond the opinions of time. The call of the whisper. So hear me now. The whisper is here. It has always been here. It is waiting beneath your noise. It is calling beneath your fears. It is alive beneath your masks. Do not wait for tomorrow. Do not wait for a perfect moment. Do not wait for the world to grow quiet. Enter now. Return now. Lean in now. For the whisper is not coming. The whisper is already here, and it has been waiting for you all along. Chapter 7. The return home. The home you forgot. There is a home within you, not a house built with stone, not a place men can buy or sell, not a building that crumbles with time, but a dwelling untouched by noise, a sanctuary unscarred by masks, a temple unbroken by the opinions of men. This home is not out there. It has never been far away. It has always been here, deep inside your soul, where God has chosen to rest his presence. But you forgot. You wandered far into the noise. You clothed yourself in masks. You carried burdens that were never yours. You searched for belonging in the arms of strangers, in the applause of crowds, in the fleeting embrace of validation. You buried this home beneath years of striving, beneath layers of trauma, beneath mountains of shame, and still, it never left you. It was always here, patient, waiting, unmoved by your wandering, untouched by your forgetting. This is the mystery of God within you. Even when you leave, he does not. Even when you run, his dwelling remains. Even when you silence his whisper, his presence does not depart. This is the home you are returning to now. Not a building, not a religion, not a doctrine, but presence, but alignment, but union. The place where you are no longer two, you and God, but one. The place where striving ends. The place where noise dies. The place where you finally remember. I was never lost. I was only asleep, reclaiming your divine authority. And when you return home, you do not return as a beggar. You do not crawl back with shame. You do not knock at the door, hoping for crumbs. You do not return as one unworthy, as if God were reluctant to receive you. No, you return as royalty. You return as heir. You return as beloved. You return as sovereign soul, bearing the mark of the one who created you. The prodigal son returned rehearsing apologies, but the father interrupted him with embrace. He clothed him with robes. He adorned him with rings. He threw a feast, not because the son earned it, but because the son was always his. This is you. This is your return. And in this return, you reclaim something the noise tried to strip away. Your divine authority. You no longer beg for validation. You no longer chase applause. You no longer wear masks. For what is there to prove when God himself has already declared you enough? What is there to fear when the Creator himself walks beside you? What is there to seek when the source of all already dwells within you? This is your reclamation. This is your awakening. This is your rising into true masculine energy, not force, not desperation, but unshakable presence, quiet strength, divine alignment, living from silence, not noise. Now imagine the life that unfolds. You rise in the morning, and instead of reaching for noise, instead of reaching for the endless feed of distraction, for for the voices that clamor for your attention. You breathe in silence. You center yourself in God. You begin the day not from lack, but from fullness. You walk into the world, and instead of performing, you simply are. Instead of bending, you stand. Instead of asking, you embody. You face challenges, and instead of panic, you respond with presence. You do not crumble when storms come. You do not bow when opinions rise. You remain, like the mountain, steady, silent, unshaken. You love others, and instead of clinging, you give freely, not from desperation, but from overflow, not from emptiness, but from abundance. This is what it means to live from silence, not from noise, from being, not from begging, from authenticity, not from masks, and slowly, without effort, without performance, your very presence becomes a light, not a spotlight for yourself, but a lantern for others who are still trapped in noise. Because when they see you, they feel the freedom of authenticity. They feel the power of presence. They feel the whisper of God flowing through your life. And without a single sermon, without a single argument, you become proof. Proof that it is possible. Proof that the prison of noise is not the end. Proof that one can live unmasked, unbroken, whole. Your life itself becomes the testimony. You can return home. Now, take one last breath with me. Close your eyes. Exhale the weight of every mask you've ever carried. Release the need for validation, as though you were setting down stones you were never meant to carry. Let them drop, one by one. Listen to the sound of burdens hitting the ground. Now, place your hand on your chest. Feel the rhythm of your heart. It beats not because you control it, not because you deserve it, but because God sustains it. This heart has carried you through storms. This heart has endured the noise. This heart has never stopped beating, a reminder that God has never left you. Now whisper to yourself, I am enough. I am whole. I am free. I am home. Stay here for a moment. Let the silence hold you. Let the whisper guide you. Let the presence of God within you become more real than the noise around you. And know this, you're no longer chasing. You're no longer begging. You're no longer lost. You are found. You are free. You are home. So I speak this over you. May you never again trade your worth for the cheap applause of noise. May you never again bow to the false gods of validation. May you never again wear masks that were never yours to carry. Instead, may you walk as the mountain, steady, rooted, unshakable. May you carry the quiet strength of true masculine energy. May you live from presence, not performance, from truth, not noise, from God, not ego. And when the world tempts you to forget, when the voices grow loud again, may you always return to the whisper, to the silence, to the home within you, where God has always been. For this is your birthright. This is your freedom. This is your life. Speak this aloud, not as hope, but as truth. I do not chase. I do not beg. I do not wear masks. I walk in presence. I live in truth. I am aligned with God. I am home. And so it is. Amen.